All right, let's get a start on this. I wonder if I can disable those LEDs down here. Let's go to our post cam. So that's kind of messing with the camera a bit. Because what I really want to show is just the postcode, because I'm anticipating a few issues with memory training. Let's put it this way. So I've got some people on stream already. That's good. I'm a little bit out of breath, but because I just went somewhere. I just picked up a piece of used benching equipment, 2 pieces actually, and it was a bloody good deal. Some, I don't know if that's ever going to focus, but it's some G-Skill pies, PSC. Paid essentially nothing for these, and it's not like a god tier bin, but it's definitely one of the better bins. So it's 2300 811.8. So obviously, you know, there's sample variants and all that stuff, but from what I know, that's sort of maybe the second or third best bin of pies that they made. It depends on how you look at it. So the absolute best bin, I think, was a 2696, which I don't know. I mean, I haven't really seen that anywhere. And there's another bin that I have a lot of that you could argue is either better or worse than this bin, which is the 2200 71010. I don't know, maybe I'm missing one, but for sure those 3 are amongst the best. How can I find, ooh, why is this dark dark theme? What are they called? They're called, there's actually a thread on these. So they're 18400 CLAD 4GB, and Loud Silence had a thread on this. Is the search function going to work? Yes, here we go. So obviously absolutely no guarantee that my sticks will do anything close to this, but this is pretty impressive. I think it's Ivy bridge though. Yeah, so keep that in mind. Why is Imager not really zooming in? Okay, I think you get the idea. So this is on a and now I can't go up and down. Really weird. This is on a 3770K, so keep that in mind. An OCF, so limited to 2.1 VCore, VDIM. But yeah, 2666 697. That's pretty good. All right. I have another thing in my $7 Kmart bag of tricks, which is a beer. This is very important. Ridge Road Brewers from Australia. It's called Bling IPA. Let's hold it up to the microphone. Can you hear that fizz? ASMR. No, not really. All right, so there's the thread. But yeah, I obviously have way too much DDR3. Way too much. But I couldn't pass this up. This was $30 Australian. What else do I want to talk about before we get to overclocking? So we have had, how am I best going to illustrate this? So Bones, who's like an old school bencher from the US, and I have had a bit of a backup battle on the 720 Black Edition. So I think his name is just Bones on iRobot. Let's see if we can find that. Yes. No. Damn it. Okay, we'll get it from this. Maybe it's Bones 22. No, it's just Bones. Does Howerbot care about like capitalization and all that? I didn't think so. Let's narrow it in a bit. Maybe it just gets confused by all the results. Damn it. It's gonna make it more difficult. I think I've just found a bug in the system. How do I search for this guy's 32Ms? I think what I can do, I can just sort of like work around it by going region, going like, or just country, United States. I mean, how many United States? See, he comes up as Bones here. It doesn't make any sense. So now I just narrowed down by LN2. There we go, only 2. Okay, so this is perfect. All right, story time. I apologize in advance, but I've got to explain this. So when I started benching, I knew when I started benching 720 Black Edition, which is a while ago, I didn't know anything about benching these chips at all. So I didn't know what C2 meant. All I could do was, you know, just sort of look through the forums and stuff. Man, Hyrobot is slow today. And what I saw was Choose 32M, which is still third now, so behind Bones and myself. Sorry, myself and Bones. Ha, spoiler alert, I got 32M currently. So I saw this result. So I was like, okay, 5.95. I'd done AM3 benching before, but I saw like a 40 something point gold at the time, and I'd done AM3 benching before, and I saw 5.95 at 1.84 VCore, DDR2, and 3.4 Encore, and I was like, this is not for real. This must be so easily beatable. You know, DDR2, the core seems like weak as fuck. What is going on here? No maximum set, and it was an ancient result. So this is October 2009. This is one of the oldest 32M. This at the time was one of the oldest 32M goals on all of Hyrobot, at least for you know, over 30 Hyro points basically. So I started benching. And I only had one chip, and I don't even remember where I got the chip, because this was not a popular chip. But I tried to bench 32M, and it was the most frustrating thing you could possibly imagine, because the IMCs on these things are just terrible. You know, I was thinking, you know, it's like all of AM3. I just slap on a 900 C6 4G Encore and everything's fine. Northbridge rather. And it didn't do 4G Encore. It wouldn't post above, let's say, 800 C6. And it would do really, really weird things like fail on loop 16. So this score is from May 2019. So basically this sort of backup battle, even though never say never, but on a 12-minute bench, I don't have backups. So we basically rebenched a lot. So in May 2019, I beat a score from 2009, and I do a 12-minute 19 to beat a 12-minute 41. And it's sort of this was when I still had Kingston hypers that were alive. You can see here, I mean, the sort of volts you have to push and stuff, it's all pretty crazy. I was still on my crosshair. DDR3 versus DDR2 is unfair too. You only have one AMD 32 gold left now. Are you afraid? Now, I don't think he has any left. Let's look at that. let's look at it now, actually, before I forget. So liquid nitrogen, 32M gold, United States. Go. Yes. There is only one first place left. Jodagos, somewhat related to Harbot. No, there's no adding up of points. So for Harbor Harbor points, so first place in a particular hardware category, a given user can only ever get points once. Now, saying that, the points do scale off of how far ahead you are of second place. Let's say if you're getting first place. So if you beat your old result by a lot, let's say your old result got 40 hardware points and you beat it by a lot, the old result gets 0 points then, and the new result might get 41 hardware points. The scaling isn't crazy. Like, it's not really worth it trying to beat your own scores to get more points. But yeah, I mean, the number of points might go up. So anyway, no more true first places. So yeah, so result number one, bad OS, 725 RAM on the wrong motherboard, but the core is up there. So we've sort of got the core dialed in, right? That's when Bones came in with his 12 minutes and 16 seconds run. So this is now June 2020. And he's running C7. So he beat me by 3 seconds. So first we have a 20 plus second win, then beat by 3 seconds. Okay, so now I've got to beat this score. So this is what I did a couple of weeks ago. I did a 12-minute 13. So that was basically, so this was June, the 9th of June. Now we're already on the UD7. We're a little bit better on RAM. It's pretty much the same on core. So basically OS efficiency only. And this score was maybe after 7 runs or something. Just getting used to the new OS and the new board. 12 minutes 13. But then what happens? We get a way to get a good little push here, which is a 12 minutes 6. So again at C7, but now 3.5 on core, as opposed to 3.1 on core and still on the C6. So now we're beaten by about, what is it, 7 seconds. But I go 2 more seconds faster. So let's see if Bones comes back. So this is the current state of affairs. Basically, not ashamed to say that I basically just copied the encore. So where's the other run? Not this. Hopefully these links still work. Yeah, here we go. So 3.5 encore, 3.5 encore. And I did this with the end of my duo. So originally I was going to do the current rig I have up right here on LN2 with the last of my duo. But what happened was these things are really sensitive to mounting pressure, and I couldn't get all 4 channels working, so I decided to just rebench this. So there's a comment down here saying, you know, Tapaka just started trolling, saying sandbags equals heavy. I don't sandbag 10 plus minute 32Ms. I can totally understand why people think this is a sandbag, because I subbed it, you know, whatever, 2 days after my previous result, but I actually just rebenched it. So the state of affairs, and to be honest, I mean, Maximum is helping me. Bones isn't running maximum, which there could be reasons for that because IMCs are so weak. You're sort of helping out the IMC, and of course, it's a C6, so the 800 plus C7 versus 700 plus C6, and then obviously, I mean, you could tighten 22, 21, 21 down here. There's tons of things that could still be done, but what is really the limiting factor with this bench is you have a 12-minute run and you might get a fail on loop 24, and that's no exaggeration. People always talk about how you can get late fails on 32M, but on these shifts, every little thing matters. It's really tricky because you can think that you have an IMC stability problem, but you might actually have a core stability problem, and vice versa. And it's really hard to know which is happening. And no one's going to sit there and run 600 C6 just to rule out the IMC, full pot and all that. So it's a really challenging chip, but I'm loving this backup battle or sandbag battle, whatever you want to call it. But the end of the story is, I think we're both out of LN2 now, so the 32M will probably stand, fingers crossed, until the next time Bones gets LN2, or maybe forever, who knows. But oh, saying all that, okay, so I didn't have backups, but Bones did. So he actually quite likely didn't bench recently and just put up old scores, but that's fine. I like that. Nothing against that. So the state of affairs is, I've got the frequency, I've got the pi fast, I've got the 32M, I've got all of the W primes, but the last backup to drop that I didn't really anticipate was the 1M. So my 1M, basically the story is, I know this is a long-winded story, but I just got to get it out. My current OS is really good for 32M, but I don't really have a 1M OS, and I see from the efficiency point of view that this OS is not good for 1M. So I sort of left my score from 2019 up, and anyway, it was gold, and I didn't really know if anyone was going to beat it. So this is so old. It's from, like, I don't even live in this place anymore, and like it's sort of weird looking at these pictures, but there's obviously tons and tons and tons and tons of things I could improve here. So for 1M, I could probably scrape around the 4 gigahertz on core, and probably out about 800 C6, because the stability obviously is completely different to 32M. And then on the core, maybe around 6.1. But as it stands, I am to 16 milliseconds behind Bones, because I assume, so he's got a bit of core on me, and then obviously this, almost 4 gigahertz on core. Anyway, that is the 720 Black Edition story. And probably, oops, shameless self-promotion here, but I don't know why that's not in my quick results, but anyway, actually hardcore overclocking. I'll drop this in the chat because Billzoid has started doing sort of score roundups, weekly score roundups for Harrowbot, and he featured this 720 Black Edition battle in there. But I just think I mostly want to point this out in case people aren't aware of it, because I think it's really cool, because it's a really great mix of global scores, interesting 3D scores that are not even like that special, but just very obscure hardware. Like this video has a discussion on the HD 4850X2 in it, because somebody posted some scores on it. and then obviously the big global like 6-core, 8-core scores that Splave dropped, and then hardware scores, hardware point scores like this one. So that's a 23-minute tangent, but I thought it was worth going into since I haven't streamed in a couple of weeks. But one more thing I wanted to talk about. You thought we were through this, but we're not. So I've sort of decided. I tried my 980 Black Edition, and I was surprised, very surprised to see how nice it was. So now, since things are going so well for me in terms of getting 32Ms out, I've decided I want to aim for all SuperPi 32M goals on the AM3 platform, which is tough. So I've got, I think, about 6 so far. Let's order them by hardware points. I think that's a more sort of fair ranking. So I've got a good shot of the top ones. I'm say all, but what I really mean is sort of all down to here maybe, because obviously there's hundreds of chips. You know, I'm not going to go out and buy a 615 Black Edition engineering sample. Okay, that's just ridiculous. You've got to cut it off somewhere. So what I actually want is, what I'd like is every gold over like 20 hardware points, but failing that, every gold on an unlocked chip that is not an engineering sample. So you're talking 560 Black Edition, which I already have, 1100T, which I'm working on, and 960T Black Edition that I have, 550 Black Edition, 720 I already have, 555 I have, 1090T I have, 965 Black Edition, and 955 I already have. So what I'm missing is 965, 550, 1100T. And then I have the 980, maybe the 975 and the 970 as well, but again, they're hard to find. I'm already putting caveats on this. I probably shouldn't. Right, so after all that, today's system is the X299 Dark from EVGA. I've heard really good things about this board, and I've seen it in action at previous country cups because Bob NZ, a really good bench from Australia, has one and swears on it and prefers it. He actually used to own an X299 OC Formula and an Apex. I don't know if he still owns them, but out of the 3 boards, he prefers this. Now, what I'll say is, the only qualm I sort of have with it is it doesn't support KB Lake X. So some of the stuff, I don't know how relevant it all is, but let's say like W prime 4-core stuff, no go, because the Ryzen stuff will probably never be good enough quad core. But with the recent scores we saw from the 5300G and the 3300X, you can kind of get by without ever clocking a 7740X, but it's a little bit of a shame. But otherwise, really good for Skylake X, better VRM than Apex, and I never talk about motherboard V-Core VRMs because I think that talk is completely overrated. I run mine sans heatsink most of the time, but on the Apex, there is an actual issue running 18 cores cold with that 8-phase VRM. That is one of the few boards where it actually matters. 99.9999999% of the time when you're using a proper benching board, even on LN2, the VRM doesn't matter. But anyway, I've got quite a few Skylake chips. This is actually an 18 core I got pretty cheap locally. The only shame is it came with both a copper heatsink, a copper IHS, which I've got on here, custom IHS, and also an ES IHS, even though the chip itself is retail, so I won't be able to resell that. And I was sort of not paying attention when I bought it, So that's a little bit of a shame. But Y Cruncher is a benchmark that really likes memory bandwidth. So it likes the quad channel. And it also doesn't really care about pure core speed as much as many other benches. And it likes AVX 512, which X299 has on the 6 to 18 cores. And the mainstream Intel platform does not. So actually, this is one of the rare cases where the 7820X or the whatever it's called, 9920X, whatever the other 8 cores are called, are better than the mainstream platform. So I would like to run a benchmark. But this board is new to me. I bought it together with the chip. So excuse me for really not knowing what I'm doing. I'm just going to use, like, there's such weird shit on here. Like, there's a triple bias switch. What the hell is that? Yeah, odd things all around. But let's consider this to be like a beginner live stream, because I'm gonna know absolutely nothing about what I'm doing here. Oh, it's a LAN. Okay, I210. Why? So EVGA. What EVGA boards have I used? This is no exaggeration or word of a lie. The last time I used an EVGA board was on 775. It was an NVIDIA i680 board, I think. I think it's this board, this exact board. Let's check. Something very similar to this. Yeah, I think this was it. This is the last time I used an EVGA board. So I'm a beginner. Yeah. All right. So let's see what this bias is all about. So we've got our 32 gigabytes of RAM. So yes, maybe a little bit more of an explanation of how this platform ticks. So the number one concern, as far as I am concerned, is dropped memory channels. So I have an OCF and it drops memory channels. So on all quad channel platforms, so Threadripper, X299, X99, X79, you have huge concerns dropping channels. So why might you drop a channel? A dead RAM stick, a dirty RAM stick, a dirty channel, like a dirty slot, a dead slot, a dirty socket, or mounting pressure. So there are at least 6 reasons why you might not have all 4 channels. It turned out to be mounting pressure when I was trying to run this LN2. So with it's a new block actually, my heat killer block on here, I was able to just screw it down way more tightly, because part of the reason I bought the dark board was to replace my Apex, which dropped channels all the time, especially when pulling down on cold. So I was afraid, I was surprised and disappointed that this was dropping channels, but it just turned out to be mounting pressure. The slots are clean, the stims are clean, and the socket's clean, so nothing's dead. Let us override and start with 1.35. vMesh, let's stay on auto. vin on auto. SA doesn't do very much. SA and IO and PCH don't do very much. Now here's where it gets dicey. I don't really know why they separate out vMesh and Encore on this platform, because if there were Kaby Lake X support here, I could say, okay, the Encore voltage is clearly for Kaby Lake X only, and the vMesh is the relevant voltage for this platform. But since there's no support for Kaby Lake X, I actually don't know what this is all about. Okay, everything else I would say okay, extreme voltage, we want that. Okay, so extreme cooling mode is enabled bias wise instead of jumper, which is what I'm used to from Asus. So that's interesting. Let's go to manual ratio, and let's just try 4.6 and 2.6 and no offset. And let's, I don't know what any of the keyboard's shortcuts are, so let's, ooh, there's a 4.8 profile on here. That's the previous owner. Y crunch. Let's, oh god, even F10. Oh yes, F10 does. Oh, there's some sort of weirdness going on with target voltage there. It's not what I like to see. Let's also turn off some turbo mode enabled, speed step off, hyperthreading on. Okay, that should do. But again, big caveat, I really don't know. No, I don't want to go to extras. I really don't know what I'm doing, because this is like everything is double dutch for me here. How is everyone doing? Let's show off our post code here. See, if only I could turn off these weird LEDs down here. They're confusing the camera and making it hard to see the postcode. So 2262 is good. Whoops. I don't know if you can hear that, but we're hanging on A2. Is that right, or no, we're just slow posting? Okay. Hi, White Shark. Oh, and we've got George Storm in the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, let's see what we've got here. So it's showing 3.6, but I wonder if we can just bench a bit and see. Okay, it's stuck on 3.6, but let's just quickly run off a 1B just in case there's something weird about that CPU-Z benchmark. Okay, no, it is actually stuck on 3.6. Now the other piece of weirdness I saw, I literally just installed Elite earlier. It seems to conflict with CPU-Z a bit. So the trick seems to be to open CPU-Z first and then Elite, because Elite actually has an embedded CPU-Z in it, and those two then sort of don't get along. Still got our quad channel. So the Encore did apply. Okay, maybe I just don't open CPU-Z at all. See, this is why I don't like a VGA basically. Where's our I wonder where our LLC settings are and all that jazz. Let's give it a little bit of time, but I'm not actually hopeful that this Elite will open at all, which is a bit of a shame. Hudson V1, thanks for the follow. Ah, Ginger, how are you doing? Okay, so this didn't seem to apply. Power management. Okay, maybe we've got dark mode. Yes, I wanted to disable the excluding the debug LED. Yes, that's exactly what I want. I don't want. That's the other weird thing. It sort of turns on as soon as you turn on your PSU. Cheers, Ginger Nuts. Where's this is really weird. I don't. It's not under memory. Is there really no like LLC or anything like that? No, I don't want to. That's crazy. CPU storage. Okay. I really don't get it. Where, you know, I know this is a Fiverr platform, but still weirdness. Okay, let's disable the C states. All right, let's see what happens there. Okay, so now we have dark mode enabled, and I think it's helped a little bit. What's that weird beep though? So excitement is building. Can we get our 4.6 in? Nope. Let's give it a little bit of time again to maybe start up. It's weird too how it sort of sits at 6% CPU utilization. It's not doing anything, it's not opening up. The other alternative is just to go auto on everything. Go auto on ratio, for example. I like that post screen. Hey, I was hitting delete. This is not allowed. I mean to bias, please. I also sort of wonder where the like retry button and all that stuff is. I can see a power button. I can see a reset button. Okay, so it's actually straight up didn't apply that. Oh yeah, let's do 4.2. Let's see what happens there. I should also add a bit of active cooling. Alright, it sort of looks to me like maybe it applied this time and not the last time. Well, let's see. Show me 4.2. God damn it. Alright, let's re-enable all the power saving jazz. Intel really has gone too far on this. Like on Z590, it's a genuine problem that it's hard to apply a manual overclock basically, because you've got to contend with AVX offsets and lots of different power saving options. CMOS checksum error. Where even is the battery on this thing? Almost looks like it's under some sort of shroud. Let's go auto mesh. Or even just 4, and then enables. Yeah, turbo mode is the critical thing, isn't it? Now no offsets. Hate offsets. What's everyone else been benching? Is it going to be applied? Excitement's building. Yes, 4.2. Okay. Just gonna check that it's actually gonna sustain throughout the run. Okay, it's sustaining. Oh no. Is that some sort of thermal throttling? All right, 95 on one of the cores. Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, let's go lower V core. Yay, elite worked. Why use a drop down for V core? That's what I want to know. No, not quit. Apply. God damn it. No. I don't know what that hang was about. $62, $92, $62, $64, $82. $79 on the worst core. 80, 88, 89. It's already downclocking. Hey, 89 isn't too much. Why is it doing that? 91. All right, that's not correct. Gotta set TJ max to 105 or something. I know I have a bad mount. I mean, I was mostly applying the mount with respect to trying to get 4 channels going. I don't mind if my core overclock is limited due to that. I'll just be focusing on memory anyway. All right. That's way too low. 110, whatever. I don't care. This chip came with the motherboard. Let's do it. I want a run that stays at the same frequency all throughout and hopefully stays below 95 as well. And then after that, start upping the memory multiplier. Try on X299, the Spectre and Meltdown patches make a big difference. That'll be something to try. The other thing is maybe hyperthreading off is a better way of doing things. I know on LGA 1200 it is for Y Cruncher. It's downclocking immediately. What the hell is going on? Is it a power limit? Yeah, let's see what happens when we disable C states. Oh no, the dreaded auto repair. So I disable C states, but we're still getting a flat 42 to boot anyway, so that's a good sign. But now let's see what happens when we run the bench. No. Okay, so the other thing to try, which happens on LGA 1200 as well is sometimes when you set 0 AVX offset, it actually doesn't apply. It just says, no, we're not letting you do that. And it just applies the default offset. So what I'll do now is apply a -1 offset to see if it will then stick to the -1 offset. As in, that 6 multiplier drop might be related to just some sort of default AVX offset kicking in. But I'm sort of worried I might have to flash another bias, because I'm sort of worried that there's certain options that are just not exposed in this bias for whatever reason, or I'm too dumb to find them. Okay, so did we bake in that C states thing? No, let's bake that in and go back to OC and apply a 1 offset. All right. Hopefully that's it. After that, I'll have to have maybe one more quick look around the BIOS to see if there's some sort of a power limit, current limit, or something along those lines. Other than that, I'm out of ideas. I'd have to flash another BIOS and see if that gives me more options. This is not sort of, no. Okay, what I'll do is I'll go, so that was the left bias position. I'll go middle bias position, which sounds fucked. I don't know why there is a middle bias position. I'll go middle bias position, flash that to the latest, see if it looks any different. I mean, the other option is always, you can still work around it. You can just apply a ratio that's six ratios higher than the one you want to bench at. It'll be interesting to see as well to what degrees there's support for NTFS for flashing. Gigabyte especially can be picky with that. It's just usually just FAT16 and FAT32. All right, so middle position. F12 to enter setup. Okay, that's weird. Ooh. This is, I would imagine, an older BIOS. So let's just have a quick look if there's any more options. I'd imagine not. Yeah, this looks totally fucked, really. Okay. So what's F12? That's screen capture. Now this doesn't seem to have the bias flashing option, which is a problem. Okay, I might have to flash the first position. No, okay, let's do it like this. Let's try the right position. Okay, that doesn't work. Okay, so we do have to flash over the buys we just had. Sweet. Thanks, EVGA. Hello. Please post. All right. So enter setup. Now we've got this extras menu, and now we can go into. Okay, so after all that, we do need a fat formatted USB stick. It's always great when things work out, isn't it? So formatting. Yeah. Where have all my USB sticks gone? These tight asses should stop. Should just pay for NTFS licensing, basically, is what it seems to come down to. There we go. I hope this solves something. Otherwise, I'll have a hard time applying like 5.4 gigahertz to run 4.8. I would like to have the option of flashing a different bias position from this position. I know on Gigabyte going way back you can flash the backup bias with at least the same bias you have on the main. That's not necessarily what you want, but in this case I don't really know the magic shortcut to enter flash mode on the backup bias, so it's a bit weird. Now the other thing I'm wondering is it specifies AVX offset for AVX2 and AVX3. I assume AVX3 stands for AVX512, but there's an outside chance that actually AVX512 offset is not configurable. I don't know. Seems weird, but that could be the case as well. Let's see what goodies this bias has got. Oops, sorry. All right. Tension's building. Looks like the keyboard isn't detected. That's not good. Let's see if I can swap it from PS2 to USB. Yes, indeed. Okay, so advanced. It's not NVMe, it's not trusted. What's under hardware monitor? Just the fans. Onboard devices. Well, while we're here, let's disable all this crap. We want dark mode. We want power off. It's not under USB. It's not under SATA. It's not under PCH or PCIe or storage. So okay, let's just keep it simple. Let's literally just go to 4. I mean, that should run. Don't know what that's about. While we're at it, so I have dark mode enabled now, so it's not showing up. But a really cool thing is, so on the Apex, you also get a LED for each channel, but it's actually sort of in the in this sort of area, so with all the other information. Whereas on this board, if you can see it, you get a LED per channel next to the actual dim slot. So the way I knew that it was this exact channel, so I think it's just called channel 1, that had an issue was because actually the LED would light up. It's multicolored as well, so it just this sort of regular white if the channel is okay and red if it's not okay. So that's kind of cool. All right. Will we finally run White Cruncher? Or will it take another hour? Who knows? So we've got our 4 gigahertz. It's looking a bit more promising. Just got some BCLK drift there. All right. See how we go. So where's our wall-to-wall time? 40 seconds, seems like. Okay, so we did, this was my stock run, so we did beat the stock run by a little bit. Let's see if we can get our elite up. And oops. Okay, I don't really understand why I'm applying cores separately here, but I'll humor them. Oops. This is riveting content, I know. Let's wait for it to apply, which can take a little bit of time sometimes. It can take a long time sometimes. Here we go. And let's rerun. Okay, so at stock vCore that didn't run. Let's go 1.3. Just gotta make a new profile. That also looks cleaner. Scoopsrow, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, it's I mean, okay. I've heard from people that they like it as a board. I still got to warm up to it, but I can see how people might like it considering the competition it's up against. Oh, hope you're all safe and sound. scoops. It's cold. It's been cold. We had the coldest May in Sydney for 56 years, which that's a long time. All right, so we've got our V core applied. We've got our multiplier applied. I hate how it's off screen like that. I wish I could. Yeah, I don't know. Getting cold. You're all well. Okay. Good to hear that. Keep it that way. I might actually make my first data file. Just so I have something to sub. Send some of that cold. Okay, so what's the temperature in Germany, White Shark? So let's see. What have we got here? Refresh. So we knocked a 0.7 off of the time. Like I was saying, you know, Y Cruncher doesn't scale so much with the CPU. Hi UCI. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But let's make it out of file. Take screenshots. Make data file. Okay. Now let's reopen Elite. Keep pushing it. 36 degrees. Let's do 4.4. Again, until the C states transition. It takes a little bit of time. Here we go. I might actually just make sure that I'm not seeing any weird down cores. Okay, so that's looking good. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it's funny because I've got my birthday coming up this week, and I remember as a kid living in Germany, it always being 30 degrees. So that doesn't surprise me that it's 30 degrees this week. But of course, moving to the southern hemisphere, actually, now I've gone from having a birthday on one of the longest days of the year to one of the shortest days of the year, and that sort of sucks a little bit. But there are other good reasons to be in Australia. I shouldn't complain. Refresh. Nice. So that's another 0.6. Yeah, so about 0.3 or 0.2 seconds per 100 megahertz is what I'm seeing. Please select something. Okay. Not sure how much I like this beer. It's called Bling. It's all right, I suppose. So we've applied. I think I can say it's a problem with this throttling business. I feel like I now always have to keep the CPU Z window open just to sort of make sure that I'm not being screwed over. I suppose I could look at it from the point of view of just the scores. You know, if the score is actually slower, maybe that's the way to go. Maybe. Oh, and the postcode actually shows the temperature. I sort of forgot about that. Okay, we have a score. I'd really like to break the 35, but let's just save it. Let's keep saving this stuff, and yeah. Nice dual GTX 980 Ti score the other day, White Shark. Always nice to see multi GPU configs on cold. Well, with the CPU on cold at least. I don't know, 4.8 at 1.3 is pretty adventurous, but let's give it a go. No, that was a quick apply as well. Nice. Okay. That's fine. Let's do 1.325. Why is there no LLC? It's just natural just to apply, you know, an LLC. I know, sort of, yeah, I don't know. I still don't agree with this whole nonsense that's going on here. Let's do 4.8 and 1.325. And then we can probably, I mean, once that's sort of, don't want to say maxed, you know, it's sort of in a reasonable range, we can start to mess around a bit with the memory. Yeah, VN. I mean, so VN drives vCore, vMesh, and then VSA and stuff as well. But I have everything on auto except vCore, and I would say that, don't quote me on that, but below about 1.45 vCore, there's really no reason to mess with VN. Now, saying that, in 5 minutes time when I hit a wall overclocking, I'll probably mess with it anyway, but what I'm trying to say is I wouldn't worry about it too much. Let's just do a run without CPZ, and if it completely blows up, then it completely blows up. Is that a hang? That's a hang. Yeah, let's go 1.325 or 35. I mean, whatever about an implementation, like if the implementation was like really dumb, you know, where the first 5 levels are crap and then level 6 and 7 are usable, I don't mind that. But the fact that you cannot even select a level in BIOS, at least, who knows, maybe when I check another tab in Elite, it will like be like, oh look, we have on the fly LLC selection. But I kind of doubt it, to be honest. that's all applied. Okay. Let's do 4-7. Now, okay, let's still go 1.325 or 1.35, but if we have struggles, then we can also optimize that. Need to disable auto repair on this damn OS. Yeah, Y Cruncher is power hungry. Yeah, I didn't see that line. That is a good point. Maybe I'll mess around with higher VN, but if 4.7 is stable, then actually let's keep it open in case, since we haven't actually completed a run at 1.35, maybe some sort of weird power limit will kick in that we didn't see in previous runs. Okay, this is looking jinxed. Okay. All right. I'm walking back my claims. I'm gonna try 2 volts V in, just in case. I forgot about the Y cruncher part of it. In regular benching, it wouldn't be a factor, but since I'm running Y cruncher for the first time on X299, let's just exclude that possibility. Let's just do 2. Let's do this. I just want 4.7 stable, and then we can move on to some other business like memory and encore overclocking. So we got to like 30% or something last time. It's showing 99 degrees. Oh shit. Not ideal, but okay. Coefficient too large. That got quite far. Let's see if we can maybe just go a little bit lower on the volts. Applied, that's good. Man. Not even quite sure why it's going into recovery mode there. During Country Cup. That was 2 years ago, wasn't it? $86, 88 degrees, 91, 92. It went to 99. Interesting. Interesting. Do I really want to remount? Is my memory really so bad? I don't remember that stage at all. Oh. I ran the 12 core. Right, it was like 8 core, 10 core, 12 core. I really don't remember it now. 2, 4, 8, 12. Yes, I ran the 12 core. And this was on the Apex, and it was a pretty bad attempt, all things considered. '84, '85. Let's make some sort of attempt at a remount. Let's put the good stuff on here. KPX. In my defense, I think alright, to give us some luck, some optimism, I think what was wrong with LN2 was there wasn't enough mounting pressure. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be hard for me to get enough mounting pressure now to once again have all 4 channels working. That's at least my working theory. Let's hope that really turns out that way. The other issue, of course, is it's not a delidded chip. Bought it with the board. It was undelidded. I don't have an X299 delidder. I've done a manual carpet knife delid before, and the chip still worked after, but I don't really necessarily want to repeat that experience. Sounds kind of good. Why is it booting into Windows? Still don't know if I have all channels, so I suppose it's my own fault for enabling dark mode, but